Hi everyone, Southy here. This is my second video, and I wish it was on a better subject. Unfortunately, most of you probably know by now that we lost the last American hero, Junior Johnson, last night at the age of 88. Obviously everybody involved in motorsport and NASCAR in particular throughout the world know who Junior Johnson was and will be forever. And also, just as far as pop culture goes, everybody in America knows who this man is. He's had such an impact on so many things. Lots of people throughout the world will also know who he is, not just because of his racing. So it's an incredible loss, but he gave us all so much. I just wanted to talk about my personal contact and times that I'd spent with Junior. He was a really humble man, a really great guy to be around. What a lot of people don't realise is that for 30 odd years, Junior would cook breakfast at his farm for anybody who turned up. As famous as he was, to people in Australia, you imagine turning up at, I don't know, Jimmy Barnes's place for breakfast and him just being there cooking breakfast for you. Well, that's what Junior Johnson. Obviously, Junior Johnson on a world scale is far more famous than Jimmy Barnes, so you sort of get the idea. Turning up at his house for breakfast was like turning up at Elvis's house for breakfast. And it didn't matter who you were or where you came from. If you turned up there between 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock, he'd cook your breakfast. He cooked it every day for all the guys who worked on his farm looking after his cattle, so he just cooked it for anyone else. People who were travelling around America on holidays, grey nomad type people who had heard about this. Most people thought it was a rumour or just something people had made up, but it was true. It was 100% true. You turned up at his race shop there on the farm, and he was cooked your breakfast. I took friends there for breakfast. It was a real treat. I got to have dinner with him. He invited me and two friends out for dinner in Bristol one night. But get an idea of where his head was at as far as fame and all those things. He was completely unaffected, and I think that by not only his own but everybody's, he didn't see anybody as being famous. I needed or I wanted Jeff Hammond's telephone number. Now, Jeff Hammond is a big deal in obviously NASCAR and in broadcasting, the Fox network. Really well known and very, very high profile, and someone like his phone number isn't something that's accessible to everybody, or especially just ordinary people like me. But I really needed to talk to Jeff, and I thought I would ask Junior if he could somehow put me in contact. So I asked Junior, I said, any way you can put me in contact with Jeff Hammond? And he said, yeah, sure. Over there on my desk, there's a scribble pad on the top of my desk, and his phone number's on there. Just grab his phone number. So, wow. So I went over to his desk, and this scribble pad had everybody's phone number on it. He didn't have, obviously, didn't keep in his phone or his teletext or whatever. He had it just all written there. So I could have taken literally everybody in World Motorsport's phone number that day if I wanted, but I didn't. I respected Junior and the fact that he'd just given me access to this one phone number. So I took it, but Darrell Waltrip was there, and I've just lost my words for the minute. Richard Petty, Hendrick, R.C. Richard as well. All these incredibly famous people, big name people. They're just all written there. So yeah, that's how he was. He was incredibly humble so we went for dinner. He invited us for dinner at Bristol one night, and we went to dinner, and we were all sitting at a table, and he made sure that when he introduced us as friends from Australia, which was incredibly nice and made us feel very welcome, and it was wonderful to be introduced as friends. We clearly weren't friends, we were friendly. He knew who I was, and he had my phone number, and I knew who he was, and I had his, and he was always very welcoming, and he was always very giving of his time, and wonderful guy. When we were at dinner this night, a fan asked him, came over and asked him who was the best driver who ever drove for him when he had his own team. And Junior, just quick as a flash, said, "Me. I was the best driver who ever drove for me," which was pretty funny, but maybe it's true. Maybe in Junior's mind he was. But I had heard Junior say in interviews that he considered Darrell Waltrip was not only the best driver who ever drove for him, but quite possibly the best driver who ever drove a stock car ever. So, which is pretty high praise from Junior, someone who was such an innovator. He's the guy who discovered the draft at Daytona. He's he built cars that were unbeatable. He was the guy who probably has got a lot to do with where NASCAR is today, as far as the development of these cars, the development of their motors and the way they work. That all had a lot to do with, especially during the 80s, what Junior did with these cars. So he's a big loss. I was very, very fortunate to get to spend time with him on a number of occasions. We got to break bread with him, got to have him cook breakfast for me and cook breakfast for friends. I've got lots of photos of me and Junior together, and I will forever be grateful that I got to meet and spend time and be friendly with this guy. So for those of you who don't know who Junior Johnson is, watch Last American Hero. It's a movie. Jeff Bridges is the star. The time period for the movie is wrong. It happened much earlier than the time period of the movie, but it's a great movie, and it really tells the story about who Junior was, and doesn't sort of tell you how important he became in NASCAR, but he was an incredible force, an incredibly important person, someone who came from running moonshine as a kid in hotted up cars to winning multiple championships as a team owner. He never won a championship as a driver because he never ran a full season. I'm sure if he did run a full season, he could have won a championship. Anyway, so RIP, rest in peace, Junior Johnson, the last American hero. I cherish our time together, and thank you for letting me be a little part of your life on a few occasions, and you will be remembered for the rest of eternity. So that's really all I've got to say. Everyone have a bit of a thought, but look him up if you don't know who he is. Watch some DVDs, some interviews on YouTube, or even on Facebook. There's plenty of interviews, or watch the movie Last American Hero. So that's all from me today. I'll get back to you soon with another video that's hopefully got a better subject. All the best. See ya, Southie.